Well, welcome. It's Francis here. Thank you for coming back to my channel. If this is the first time here, I bid thee welcome. There is a subscribe button below if you would like to help support this channel by subscribing. Also a bell to be notified as to when I upload more content. I'm coming to you from Ghana country, and as such I acknowledge the Ghana people of the Adelaide Plains as being the traditional custodians of the lands upon which I reside. So this video, I'm going to be talking about the new moon that we have coming up on the 4th of August. Here in Adelaide, it will be taking place at 8:43 p.m. So that's Australian Central Standard Time. And it may be, I've got the 5th, but it may even be the 3rd of July, depending on where you are in the world. So you might just want to check that out. I use a website called timeanddate.com where you can put in whatever major city you're close to, and it would go into the moon phases, and you can find out what time the new moon or any sort of connection with the moons, even sun eclipses, may occur. So it will be in the astrological sign of Leo. We're in Leo season and at 12 degrees 34 minutes. So take a look at your natal chart or your birth chart if you have one to see what house 12 degrees 34 minutes falls into, because this will sort of affect if you're wanting to manifest. So at the time of a new moon, we have the sun and moon right next to each other. And the result of that is that the sky is at its darkest. So this means that what is hidden, what potential is about to emerge, it's also about refreshment. It's about planting that seed, so to speak, of what you're wanting to manifest or bring into your life over the next 6 months or so. In 6 months' time, we'll have a full moon in Leo, which will be right about the 12th of February next year. So where something you've planted now is going to be in potentiality has come into manifestation. We also have the Lion's Gate coming up on the 8th of August. Now, this is a period of time that's relating to the sun, as I said, is an astrological sign of Leo, being in alignment with the star Sirius, Orion's belt, and also the Earth. It does cover a period from the 26th of July through to around about the 12th of August, with the 8th being at its peak. Now, not all astrologers consider this time as significant. It's gaining popularity in various circles. However, it was a time of huge significance to the ancient Egyptians because it marked the hierarchical rising of Sirius. And when Sirius became visible on the horizon, this also coincided with the undulation of the Nile River, which brought the fertile silt down from the Ethiopian highlands, flooding the Nile Valley before the Aswan dams were built, therefore giving the fertile soil for the farming so they could grow their crops. Sirius, of course, is the alpha star in Canis Major. It's a constellation that the ancient Egyptians referred to as Sopdet, and they connected Sopdet to their great goddess Isis. So adding to the Lion's Gate, we also have Venus returning to our skies again, this time as the evening star after her descent in the underworld over the last 3 months. So now she's gone from a morning star, now she's reappearing as the evening star. So I don't want to get too distracted away from this new moon. I may actually do like a little video on Venus. And I know I've done a previous video a number of years ago on the Lion's Gate. I might update it and repost it, so stay tuned. So Leo is the fixed fire sign. So it's big, it's bold, and it's creative, and it's social. It is where we feel confident, where we're standing in our light, our gifts are on display, but we are also helping other people to do the same with theirs. So a new moon in Leo is playful. It's about having fun. It's about enjoyment. And it's also about matters of the heart. So some astrologers, note that I'm not an astrologer, I just sort of combine what takes interest in some of the astrologers that I follow and put them all together. So check out their websites below. So matters of the heart. So in some arenas, if you're looking for it, this could actually indicate a new romance or sort of refreshment into a standard relationship or a current relationship. So as I said, look in your chart, see what house 12 degrees 34 minutes of Leo is in. And this may be important because on the 6th of August, Mercury is going to go retrograde. So it's going to be at 4 degrees in Virgo. And when it retrogrades, it's going to actually enter Leo again, causing us to revisit, reassess, reconsider, all those R words that retrograde means. So revisit, reassess, reconsider areas in our lives. Again, it'll be in that house where our Leo is in. So there is something that we may even need to be doing in a different way. And we'll be having a little bit of time to think about it because Mercury will be stationing direct around about the 29th of August, having reached about 21 degrees of Leo, and then heading back out to Virgo again, seeing what we have learned. At this new moon, it will also be sextile to Mars and Jupiter, which are both in Gemini. So Mars is 9 degrees of Gemini, Jupiter is 15 degrees of Gemini. So we've got the action of Mars and Jupiter being expanded. So it's almost like big ideas, full of action, hopes, optimism, dreams, etc. In Gemini. Gemini is a very social, very chatty sign. So this may connect in with social media. So you might want to be a bit mindful because it could, Jupiter is expanding, Mars is going full bore. Look at how we conduct ourselves on these platforms, because we may be sort of rushing in a little bit too fast before the brain has been able to sort of catch up, so to speak. So be a little bit more mindful of your sort of interaction on social media platforms. There's enough misinformation out there, shall we say, without us sort of like jumping down the wrong rabbit hole, so to speak. The downside of this Mars-Jupiter conjunction is that it's squaring Saturn, which is retrograde at 19 degrees of Pisces. Again, look at your house, look at your chart, see what house 19 degrees or 15 degrees of Gemini. So that relates back to where Jupiter is, and see what house that is, because this is an area that Jupiter is expanding while it squares Saturn. Our square is on 90 degrees. Saturn is sort of reminding us that we are responsible. Well, then again, I suppose it's not really a downside. I sort of feel our world, we're just too I am focused these days. So very driven merely by what the individual can gain without really giving much thought to the overall impact, the wider picture, or the collective as a whole, so to speak. That's just my perception of things. But Saturn is sort of wanting us to sort of think a little bit more about that, take a little bit more responsibility. Also wanting us to focus on that particular areas in our chart where 15 degrees of Pisces falls in. What house is Pisces in your chart? So we're looking at Leo. What house is Leo in your chart? What house is Jupiter in your chart? Also, what house is Saturn in your house, or Pisces in your house? Because again, this could indicate that there may be a period of hard work ahead, but it's not all in vain, because you will be reaping the rewards in this area. We also have Venus in Leo. Now, Venus is actually at the anaretic degree, 29 degrees, so 12 minutes of Leo. This would normally sort of indicate that at a new moon, it's a perfect time to start a new project. However, with Venus being at an anaretic or a critical degree point, sort of reminding us that something needs to give first. It can also feel that something tends to be a little bit harder. There's a bit more intensity of having to do something and do it now. However, it is opposed to Neptune, which is at 29 degrees, 39 minutes of Pisces, again at the anaretic degree point, which is all about release, surrender, letting go of something that you feel no longer serves you. It can also mean surrendering to the universe, just allowing the universe to sort of guide you through something. And then added to that, we have Pluto. Pluto's at 0 degrees, 35 minutes of Aquarius. So it's just sort of like moved into Aquarius again. And that can also be interpreted as being an anaretic point. And this is adding to the feeling that something maybe being brand new, and we may feel a little bit uncertain about it because it's brand new in Aquarius, mind, new stuff. However, it may be encouraging us to sort of cling on to the old because we're facing a new direction. So in order to put all this in sort of a more common language, and I want to credit Donna Stalhorn for this, because she's given this fantastic example, is like realizing that you need to do what you want, as this is so important right now. However, the world is changing. There's so much changing around us at the moment that we're sort of looking at where we feel comfortable, where we feel confident, where we feel safe and secure. Almost like all this energy is swirling around us. We're creating our own mini sort of whirlpool or tornado. It can conjure up feelings of overwhelm. If this is you, then breathe. One practice, I call it the fourfold breath. You sort of breathe in for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4. Before you breathe in again, or even just do some deep, slow breathings into the diaphragm. And that helps to sort of get us out of our head stuff, get us out of that sense of overwhelm. It also helps us to be more present in our lives, helps us to ground, which is all good, especially at this new moon. I said there's a lot of new energies, but it's sort of like, do we, don't we? A lot of confusion happening around as well as distractions. So if you are a new moon manifestor, you need to sort of like ask yourself, what is it that you truly want to bring into your life? If you don't do this, you may actually find yourself looking for an escape route, which is Neptune and Pisces, or the illusion, and actually ignoring these new opportunities that Pluto and Aquarius is offering you. Donna also reminds us that, yes, we are really experiencing very difficult, tough times at the moment, and it can be very daunting, very overwhelming there, much of a struggle. A lot of us are struggling. However, it's important to sort of keep in mind that at a soul level, there is a reason why we are here today. Our soul, without sounding too new agey or wishy-washy, our soul really knows that we will get through these experiences. And when we really start to align ourselves with our soul purpose, where we sort of stop being so head ego driven and allow and listen to our heart and the emotions, and we're not talking about the overwhelmed emotions, but really tapping into our body more as to whether we're leaning into something, leaning back to something, or even just meditation, taking a few moments to pause before we make a decision. When we sort of move away from the driven, I want this for me, and understand what we truly need as opposed to want. And also the consequences of how that need actually impacts on others, including our planet, then we tend to be able to handle these intense times a little bit more, because whether it's the universe, gods, goddesses, ancestors, spirit guides, etc., they're able to, could even be our highest consciousness, assist us as we begin to move more into this ebb and flow of the rhythms, of the greater cycles, not only in our life, of the planet, of the cosmos, as opposed to fighting against it. Just something to think about as well. And then return back to the breath. And something else I'd like to mention is that Leo, like Aries, these are astrological signs that tend to focus largely on sovereignty, our personal power. So there's this emphasis on sort of reclaiming it back, especially if we have been so readily offloading it onto other people, giving our power away, for example. As we call our own personal power back, consider it vibration or frequency, I think it's important to remember that we are all energetic beings, and consider not only what power you are attracting, but also the vibrational level of that energy that you are emitting. Is it lower frequency, vibration, energetics? So it's based on fear, anger, frustration. This is something that Pam Gregory talks about a lot. Or is it coming from a higher place, higher vibration, a higher level, such as love, peace, joy? And when I'm talking about love, I'm talking about unconditional love. I'm just talking about compassion, empathy, not just romanticism, romantic sort of love. Because life attracts like, and it's one of the basic universal laws. And in order to sort of help you get through these challenging times, maybe consider what you're actually attracting or could be attracting into your life based on the level of your own vibration. Now, this doesn't mean to say that you always have to be sort of blissfully happy and positive, and because that to me actually sort of echoes spiritual bypassing, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about understanding life as it ebbs and flows, allowing our emotions to ebb and flow with it, and almost as if this acceptance, compassion, understanding that things ebb and flow. And when we sort of surrender and allow ourselves to ebb and flow, we can actually move our sort of conscious awareness into a different state as well. Good things happen, not so good things happen. Good things happen again. As opposed to thinking that everything's all love and light and bliss. And then when something not so love and light and bliss happens to us that's out of our control, then we don't have the toolkit to actually handle it. Now that's spiritual bypassing. So after that little bit of a lecture, just take a few moments to maybe focus on What does bring you joy? What does bring you peace in your life? Maybe sort of start some very simple practices, like when you first wake up and before you get out of bed, see if you can list 2 things, 3 things, 5 things that you are grateful for. Maybe 5 things that you could achieve that day. And then at the end of the day, again, express your gratitude of the things that you have achieved. Maybe consider the things that you didn't quite make it, but don't beat yourself up. That's okay. Just an honest acceptance. I wasn't quite nice to Mary Jean over the water cooler today. She really does my head in. Okay, tomorrow, maybe I'll try and be nice. Who knows? And just allow, so that way we aren't beating ourselves up. We are aiming to come from a better place with our vibrational level. If there is something, if we come to the realization that our energy and Mary Jane's energies just clash head on all the time, that's okay. We don't have to accept every single person in our life. We can be pleasant, we can be civil, and move on. Another idea is to meditate on something that brings you joy or peace. I personally like mantras. To me, they help clear the head clutter in my head. It allows me to sort of focus on something something else. After I sort of clear all that, helps me come back to center. And I am offering a couple of courses through the College of Psychic Studies, which is based in London, the UK, that are actually involving mantras. So the first ones, we're going to be looking at Kali Ma, that terrifying dark mother that we found in the Hindu pantheon. And that's the online course. It'll be on the 24th of August. Then in October, we are going to be working with Ganesha, the elephant-headed god. So I'll put the links below if you're interested in checking them out, find out a little bit more about them. The timing and the website is in UK time because the College of Psychic Studies is in the UK. Here in Australia, it will be around about 7 o'clock. I think in the US, it's not really good timing. I think it's in the very early hours of the morning, but who knows what could happen after that. And I will also put the links below for the astrologers that I have used to prepare this little summary. So we do have an interesting new moon coming up in Leo. We've also got to the helical rising of Sirius, which means it's the Lionsgate, and also got Venus, who's returned and manifested into the evening star. So a lot to sort of think about. Breathe. There's a lot of things happening in the world at the moment. So I do hope that you are well. If there is anything that specifically resonates with you, please put comments below, because I do go back and look at everybody's comments. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing, because that's how you can support my channel. And otherwise, blessings, and stay tuned for the video that